Hey gang, I'll start the recording at about 6:30 for Learning Module 2, Week 2, Digital Animation and Effects 2. Hey gang, Professor McElroy here, January 2022, Digital Animation and Effects 2. This is Week 2, Learning Module 2. Well, there's a lot of twos going on here. Welcome. Good job so far on learning Module 1. Just about everyone is submitting book assignments. They're starting to navigate through Adobe Premiere. I think Adobe Premiere does a really good job with this classroom in a book for this particular software application. Just make sure that you're looking at the screenshots as well as reading the step-by-steps. Sometimes a step-by-step can get a little confusing, but if you look at the screenshot of the action that it's asking you to do, oftentimes it really clears up the process as you're kind of navigating through. The assignments I've gotten so far have been right on point, have been good. The pre-lecture, which is basically this week's lecture that I posted in the announcement section, covering our topics for this week. Remembering that next week we're going to jump into After Effects. So Premiere is week 1 and 2, After Effects is week 3. And if you've ever had the Adobe Animate class, you're going to look at After Effects and realize, I think I've seen some of this stuff before. It looks very similar to Adobe Animate with timelines and keyframes, and it's used to animate intro screens and logos and really just splashy graphics that you insert into your Premiere timeline in order to splice it together with some of your video clips. I'm going to spend a little bit of time tonight talking about resources, different things you have access to, different ways to deconstruct and reconstruct and grab elements. I also wanted to just take a couple of seconds to remind you, if you don't know, that you can start a YouTube channel. Just set up a username and password in YouTube, and then you could export your movies out of Premiere and upload them, drag and drop them into YouTube, and then you could just share the URL with me for your movies, your creations in here, your multimedia and video and audio solutions, and you could just add a text file into your Canvas upload for each of your projects and just give me your link to the videos you uploaded. I know that this program is a beast, and that's why I try to give you a lot of time each week to work on your projects, because even our computers that are pretty fancy and pretty super fast in our Mac lab, specifically the Macs for sure, even they take a little bit of time when I'm rendering effects, I'm splicing up video, I'm going into the nested objects inside Premiere and making some edits to text or to static graphics or to whatever I've built in my timeline, because it's more times than not some kind of high definition solution, even though it might be a short clip for an Instagram story, or could be just a little graphic that I'm using in TikTok or social media or something like that. It's still a big beast. I mean, the files are definitely hog files. So you need external drives. You need a computer that's dedicated to the class that you're working on a regular basis and kind of dedicating the files. That's why I like this TEC format, where I can lecture from the classroom or the office, have you guys interacting, give you the opportunity to watch the recording and just spend the time working on your videos. So many students use their phones nowadays and shoot their own video and upload them to Premiere and play around with them. And I just saw that the next iPhone might have something like a 48 megapixel camera on it. Dear Lord only knows what resolution that's going to shoot video at, whether it's 5K, 6K, 8K, who knows? But the technology is definitely there now. I don't know if you've seen the commercials that Apple is running for their cinematic focus that the new iPhones have, where the focus, is in one spot of the video that's being shot and everything in the background is kind of blurry or out of focus, and it's cinematic. So it kind of moves based on who the person is that's speaking, what the focal point of the video is. It's really some scary technology out there now. So there's so much you can do at your fingertips if you have a smart device. So I try to leave the creativity side of this class open to the students, what technology they have access to, what apps and applications they're tinkering around with, maybe the social media that they enjoy using. This is a really great platform, using video and audio and splicing it together with some After Effects vector animations to really create some very short, impactful visual communication solutions. So, and I know the program takes time to upload and download and to build projects and to apply effects and to export your movies. So I try to give you as much time, especially week 2, because we've now in essence covered a chunk of the chapters in your Adobe Premiere Classroom in a book textbook. Remember, like I said before, if you happen to have the 2018 or 2019 or 2020 edition of the book, we're using the most up-to-date, which is 2021. I believe Adobe Press is even working on 2022 right now. That I'm not sure that they've released it yet, but we tend to let them kind of work the bugs out of it a little bit before we implement it in the classroom. So we're on 2021. Just remember that peachpit.com/register is where you can download your student files. I uploaded some of the files, but I could not upload all of the assets for all the projects in the book because it's gigs of file storage. So, which makes it equally important that you have a computer that you kind of have dedicated that you can use the software on versus bouncing back and forth with an external drive. Not that external drives aren't really big nowadays and they store a lot of data. It's still a beast to be hopping back and forth with all of the files and details and everything you have going on. So hopefully this is your only class for the month and you have an opportunity to focus on it. We only have a handful of students, couple of students in this section. So it makes for a nice opportunity to really just concentrate on the projects and work on the solutions and have fun and play. Remember, the announcement section is where I post our lecture recordings, and I'll be posting pre-recordings now each week just so you have something to watch and I can tie up some loose ends later on in the week. The projects take a bit of time, so I want to give you as much heads up time as I possibly can. So by uploading the lecture already recorded on a Monday instead of waiting till a Wednesday night to kind of touch base on a few topics, gives you the full 7 days in this TEC format to really work on your projects. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from all the student cohorts using the TEC model that they like the early post of the lecture and then the opportunity to interact live with me on the night session, especially when the class is a little bit later in the week. So this gives us a really good opportunity to interact with a live chat, with a little live and recorded follow-up, just to touch base on a few key topics and allow us to kind of keep the ball rolling as we're editing, manipulating video and audio, and building multimedia solutions. Totally different than Adobe Animate. We're kind of in this cinematic 4K environment now, and you're even going to see that in social media as TikTok and Instagram stories and Facebook Reels, and all of this video, audio, multimedia solutions are evolving in social media space. You're going to see more 4K video and 5K, and gosh, technology just keeps going and going. I've also have had students in the past dabbling a little bit in iMovie. iMovie has a really simplified timeline structure built on the Adobe Premiere style of platform. So I'm not against tinkering in other programs, whether you're shooting video on your phone and you're using an iMovie or a video editing program to chop up and do transitions and add animations and filter effect the videos and play around with your final solution. Okay, if we dabble a little bit in the external app environment. I try to stick with the step-by-step as much as I can with the book projects because that's the easiest for most people, for most students, especially students who are visual. They like to see the photos, read the description, and navigate through the process. But I'm up to outside of the book tinkering around with some other applications. So as we kind of explore After Effects next week and we animate some intro logos and do some basic things, I'm up for our final project, dabbling in a bunch of different programs, as long as our solutions are consistent, professional, and applicable. I've had students kind of tinker around. Once they learn the basic timeline structure and effects environment in a video and audio situation, they more quickly gravitate to some of the third-party apps that do some very similar things. Keeping in mind that we are evolving brand development into social media. I read the other day that Ford was shocked at the number of Ford Maverick trucks they've sold, and that the TikTok video advertising that they've been doing to push the new truck has been just over the top with the 20 to 30 something population. So you're going to see brands just navigating to mini video clips, video and audio animations, simple, short advertising pops, campaigns that go across these social media environments. And TikTok's only the beginning. It's getting more views than YouTube now. So the idea that YouTube was that environment is kind of gone by the wayside. And now you're starting to see TikTok and Instagram stories and Facebook Reels and all these short video clips having a real impactful environment on personal brands and product and service brands. So just keep that in mind as we're kind of exploring video and audio. Not everyone loves it. Not everyone loves the time commitment sometimes to both edit, manipulate, and publish video, especially video that has embedded audio and nested objects and a layered environment like we are in. But some really like it. So just know that there's all kinds of formats and all kinds of ways to export and kind of challenge your brain in this graphic design or digital design world. And it certainly is a skill set that would be a nice resume builder as you're looking for that dream client or that dream job. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I just wanted to pull up really quickly my YouTube channel so you can see all kinds of different things over the times I've posted in here. That gives my YouTube link right here, video link, that I could use to upload into my Canvas environment. So I just want you to know that, you know, swapping Premiere files in Canvas, uploading those, or trying to give me an exported video that may be a few gigs because you've got multiple layers and multiple nested objects and all kinds of effects going on. That time to upload in Canvas, use that same time, upload it to a free YouTube channel, and then you can share the URL with me. I've really seen over the years that is the best platform for students sharing files and sharing resources with me when we're dealing in a 4K environment. So just kind of a best practices. And I've been known to do that. And I closed my window already, but Keep Lee County Beautiful is a board I sit on. They had a commercial. They wanted to nest inside a new WordPress website that I helped them build. And so we uploaded it to my YouTube channel and used an iframe environment and embedded it inside of their homepage of their webpage. And now I can keep track of views, hits, and all of that. So it's a really good process across the board, not only for sharing your video solutions with me, but also for just professional development. If you don't have a server and don't have the ability to really transfer that size of data from one connection to another, there's no shame in a cloud environment like an Amazon cloud or a YouTube channel or something like that. The viewer just sees the video. I mean, yes, there's some YouTube branding if you're embedding it or iframing it or nesting it in another page environment, another multimedia solution environment, but there's no shame in that. That's kind of the traditional view of most people nowadays when they're interacting with video in a multimedia environment. So unless you're running this thing off a hard drive and it's a kiosk at a hotel or restaurant where they're running videos, sometimes the smoothest high resolution connection can be that of a YouTube environment. So please feel free to use that connection. So that brings us into Learning Module 2. Remember, I'm only turning on the modules as you see them. Most students are in the process of or have completed our first few chapters of our book, just kind of getting us going. Remember that there is a little pop-up quiz here. There's no time to it. There's no ticker, anything like that. I just want to see what terminology you picked up, what you learned as you're navigating through the first few chapters in your book. I'll take a look at the scores at the end of this week, see how students did on that first quiz, And if there's any challenges or I see anything kind of offbeat as far as the bell curve goes, I'll turn on a second attempt for you and you can go in and attempt again. It's not any kind of trickery or anything. I'm not trying to like make it difficult. I just want to make sure that you're learning some of the key glossary terms as you're navigate through Premiere. And I may throw one up for After Effects too when we do that first few chapters next week. I think most of you, because you've done some other form of animation, will find next week to be pretty easy. I think After Effects has some very kind of easy, intuitive tools and toolbars and effects because we've been exposed to the process before. So I think giving you extra time this week to work on your videos will be a slam dunk because you'll be able to exhale next week and tackle a few chapters in After Effects and really feel like you're gaining ground on things. So we'll do the best we can to give you some extra time for the last few chapters, what I consider the last few chapters in your book, 6 through 10. That's a decent chunk. So I'm going to give you as much time this week as I can for you to work on your projects. Yeah, most of you are going to binge it over the weekend, about an hour each chapter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 hours. You can complete your chapter assignments for this week. And if you stayed up to speed with your first 4, then we're going to navigate through pretty much the book for Adobe Premiere in 2 weeks, which is awesome because that means in the sped up process, you should absorb a little bit more for the long term because we're kind of diving into it and really tackling the step-by-step. Some of it should really stick. And I hope it sticks not only for using Adobe Premiere, but for maybe if you're exploring other technologies, other apps, applications for doing video editing, video and audio editing. Some of these techniques and skills and tools will apply across the board. So hopefully you're really getting an absorption of that as you're navigating through the book. I don't find the book to be very difficult at all. So I'm hoping you don't either. It is a little bit of a time chunk, but as far as the process goes, I don't think it's too bad of a process compared to some of the other books. Dreamweaver can be a bit tricky for students at times, but I really feel like Premiere is pretty direct. And because so many people are in a video world nowadays, that they seem to kind of connect the dots a little bit easier. But if you have any challenges this week as you're navigating through the upper level chapters in your book, shoot me an email. Remember, I'm pretty good at responding. I do have sections running 3 nights this week, this month. And so I'm in Animate one night, I'm talking about video and audio one night, I'm doing some advanced Dreamweaver one night. So, but just remember that between 8:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, I'm very active in my email. So if you reach out to me, we'll be able to connect the dots, I think, pretty quickly for you. I can shoot a video, I can point out something if there's a hiccup or a hurdle in something you're doing. But I've been doing Premiere for a number of years now, and I feel like this is the one program most students do a pretty good job of connecting the dots on with a little tinkering. And so with that being said, I just wanted to spend 45 minutes or so tonight, maybe an hour, just going over a few resources that you might find interesting as we start to navigate potentially in week 4 of your post-course assessment. Like I said, next week's After Effects, it looks a lot like Adobe Animate. So if you took that course already, I think you'll very comfortably navigate through the basic assignments in our After Effects book next week. So that'll give us week 4 to build a final video solution, an animated graphic with some video splicing. Yes, After Effects and Premiere are the tools of choice in our industry, but if you want to tinker around in an iMovie or another app environment that you use on your iPad or your iPhone or Samsung Galaxy tablet environment, or maybe on your Samsung phone or any of those, I'm an Apple guy, but there's certainly Android out there that has some really interesting tools. I'm up for it. So I just want to expose you to the video and audio and logo animating process so that you could use it in your personal social media or use it maybe for an employer you currently work for, or maybe for that dream job coming up, or to build some video and audio solutions for your personal portfolio. It just opens the door to some other avenues if you enjoy multimedia design. So That's our tackle for this week. So let's take a look at a couple of things I just want to highlight this week. I actually did very briefly highlight it week one, but it's something good to talk about again as you're looking for things to use, as you're starting to navigate through your book, and as we go on to build a final project, which is an out-of-book solution, which will include some logo animation and some video clips that you manipulate, put some effects on, do some video transitions, and build some basic solutions for me. This site is great for video, free video to use, educational experience that you can search for, easily download and manipulate in a high resolution environment. And so this is one that I love to use as I'm teaching courses, I'm splicing up video, and I'm tinkering around with. You'll find most are high resolution, most are pretty good quality, most work really well for our Premiere and After Effects Digital Animation 2 class. So if you're not shooting it on your phone or on your tablet and you need some stock video that you want to type in, anything you're looking for, I mean, we could scroll down here and just pick some of the, Waves is just one that's already picked here. Look at the beautiful drone video, and you've got just high definition, really high quality video clips. And remember, from your book, you can export it in and snap it down to your video clip size and really do some really great video editing that looks really professional, and it's just stock video that you snagged off of a site like this. And there's other ones out there. I just enjoy this one because it's really easy to use as far as searching for and downloading some really high quality video. You'll see there's 9,000 videos almost in the search database. So if you need it and you're looking for something, there's some really just beautiful video clips in here. So I just wanted to highlight that during the lecture tonight as you're starting to think forward. Maybe you're doing your book projects and you're tinkering around in your video environment and you want to drop in a video that you downloaded, like I did in my lecture for week 1 and 2, just downloaded videos and dropped them into my library in Premiere. You most certainly can download some videos and drop them in and play around with them, kind of prepping for your final project. Sunday night of week 4, I'll turn on the description for the final project. But if you're tinkering around, you're really enjoying it, this is a great website for going and grabbing. I mean, there's 75,000 photos, but 5,000 videos is a lot of videos. So it's a great opportunity and that's 5,000 just in this clip of sunset. So it's really just an awesome environment for finding resources so you don't have to shoot them on your phone. Now, when I was in school, I always tried to do as much as I could raw on my own personal space. So at the time, I'd take my digital camera out and shoot some video clips, or I'd take some still imagery. Even today, if a client asks me if I can do it, I'll take my iPhone and shoot some 4K video that I can use in a multimedia environment. Sometimes it's building a little animated banner. Sometimes it's making a little multimedia commercial solution. Sometimes it's just dropping some video inside their website or in an electronic newsletter they're building. So I do like to do a lot myself. And I do notice most students in the creative space end up shooting some video on their own because it's fun. If you're creative and you kind of like exploring different environments, using your phone or using a tablet to shoot some raw video and connecting it to your computer and uploading it, or using an app on your tablet or on your phone to edit some video. It's fun, it's exploratory, it stretches your creative brain. So if you're not shooting it yourself, thinking about maybe your out-of-book project at the end of the month, this is a really great site for downloading videos. Yes, they're big, a lot of big videos. I mean, if you're shooting, I'm going to hit the back button just because there's some beautiful drone video that people are shooting. Like, look at this spectacular video that you can download. I mean, there's full quality here. So it takes time to download some of these files. That's why I really lean heavily on having a computer, a laptop, a desktop at home, something you're working on so you're not bouncing back and forth from one computer to the other. But besides the fact that the files are really big, the programs are really big, video is a beast. Video and audio is a beast. Premiere isn't something that's a Creative Cloud application. So there's a constant update, there's a constant tweak, there's an adding of effects, there's a kind of a tweaking of the dashboard. So the more you can be consistent, set up your own custom home or computer-based workspace, I think the better you will be in the end, creating solutions that are effective. So that's my pitch for free video clips out there. I use this site often to play around with, build solutions for my clients, different things like that. So please play around with it, use it as we navigate through our multimedia solutions. There's also a ton of sites out there for downloading some really cool template kits for Premiere and After Effects, really. But this mix kit is a really great one for Premiere. I mean, look at some of this stuff. It gives you some really amazing pre-built timeline templates for Premiere that you can swap video out with. You can adjust text, you can swap out logos, and you can build some really interesting pieces of your video. Not even if you're not building, the whole video, maybe you're just doing an intro environment where you want to grab some cool, this particle ripple is really neat. I mean, really cool logo animation using Premiere. And you'll notice right down here in the download, I actually downloaded a file to play around with a bit tonight during the lecture, just to show you kind of what you can do with some resources that are out there and available, especially when you're learning. When you're in the learning process, it's really nice to, this one's cool too, really nice to kind of deconstruct to reconstruct, right? Find some things that are cool out there that you can play around with, that you can edit the video and text in, and it just gives you a learning environment. Yes, Premiere has its own library, and if you have a Creative Cloud subscription, you can grab templates from the library and drop them in and manipulate them. But sometimes it's fun to see what other people are doing and building and play around with that stuff as well. So really great site for downloading some cool templates. So now you have a video environment. You can pull some videos down to play around with in Premiere with effects and cutting and splicing and blending and transitioning and that sort of thing, which I love to do. I love adjusting color samples. I love cutting videos up into a million pieces, making them black and white, fading them in, blurring them in, changing the perspective on them, giving that cut screen situation where it cuts from video to video without a transition. There's so many things you can do in Premiere that are really fun and really effective. So just keep that in mind. So I just wanted to share a couple of resources with you kind of as you're navigating through Premiere. This is our Premiere week. We're going over to After Effects next week, do some logo animations, intro animations. And then from there, our final project will be an out of book project where you can download video, shoot video, splice up video, bring in some templated material, edit it, manipulate it, make it your own, and build kind of a really cool solution to end the course. It's amazing how much you can learn in just a 4-week session. And I hope you're pushing the envelope as you're playing as well, because you can do some really cool things. Nothing is more satisfying than image manipulation, whether it's motion, kinetic, like video, or whether it's static or still like Photoshop and image blends in Photoshop. So hopefully you're getting experience that you're enjoying and you're grabbing a few nuggets that can really help you in some future endeavors and resume builders. So I'm going to go ahead and close the kit template environment, and I'm going to go into Premiere just briefly and kind of show you the world of a template environment in Premiere, kind of like iMovie and other video app building solutions. I'm sure there's Instagram output apps and all kinds of things. I'm going to go ahead and open a project, and I'm just going to open a template just to kind of show you something I downloaded to give you an idea. So I'm just going to open it up, and you're going to see it's going to pop open, and it's a corporate slideshow. So it's a template I downloaded, and you should know from your book. You can see down here, look at all the video layers, 27 of them, and an audio layer, and it's got kind of this funky animation placeholders, text, template, environment. I downloaded it just so that I could show you the structure of some of these template environments, just to hopefully push your brain a little bit and inspire you, get you out of the book a little bit. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go over into my library environment and show you that everything in here is nested. So nested titles, main title, subtitles, nested logo. So if I go into the main title and double click on it, you're going to notice that this thing is a nested environment. And so I can go in here and change this over and completely make it my own from this template environment. You can see the title is there. I can close that. And then let's just take our timeline and crank it back. And you can see that Hodges University has been changed in my movie animation already. It's in my main sequence down here. So you can notice as we zoom out, zoom in, that you start to see the different layers and what they are as we animate through this timeline. I'm zoomed in now, so you'll see overlay animations, you'll see sequences that are changing, right? And all of these things are embedded in the library folder. So now that we've been into, look at all of them. I mean, they're all over the place, right? So there's our line animation. I mean, it's crazy. Like you can get in here and manipulate all of our pieces. And so this is a template that I downloaded showing you a couple of resources now. So let's go ahead and close this. And let's get in. And we're going to open up one that I've been manipulating throughout the day just to kind of expose you to, you know, all of the pieces, the parts. So let's get in here. Right? So we have all of these space holders, all of these pieces. So let's take a look at all the pieces I've been manipulating from this video. Now that I went in and did an edit, so you can see that I went in and adjusted and tweaked all of the copy inside my template, just going into my assets, double clicking on them and using my tools to manipulate and modify. All 27 videos. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so we can scroll down. Let's get in here. And so you can see all of the pieces now that have been manipulated across this timeline to create this, in essence, 44-second animation from a template now fully customized into a Hodges environment. So now that you've been following along the book a little bit, maybe before you finish your videos this week, you download some of your raw clips, maybe use Pexels to grab some freebie videos. Maybe you go out and download a template, bring it into Premiere, go into the library environment, into the nested environment, manipulate some of the assets. So it gets you out of the book environment and starts reinforcing some of the techniques you're learning in the step-by-step, but now you're doing it in a more free-flowing professional output environment. That'll prep us, kind of finish us up from the Premiere video editing environment and dive us into After Effects and logo animation intro screens next week. Because once we're out of next week, which is our After Effects environment, we're going to jump into our out of book project. So we're going to go from video and audio Premiere editing the first 2 weeks, 1 week of logo intro animation, and then right into a final project. So in between the Premiere and After Effects environment, tinker around, download some video, shoot some video on your phone, play around a little bit in Premiere, minus outside of the book project, so that will prep you a little more comfortably for our out of book assignments. Gives you a chance to explore your creativity a little bit. And I'm looking at the roster in the class, and I know not all of you love the concept of multimedia design. I know not all of you are thinking video, audio, multimedia animation environment. Not all of you are thinking that, but maybe there's a project brewing in your brain a little bit, and you're thinking that TikTok or social media might be some place you want to build a brand you're thinking of. Maybe it's a personal brand. Maybe you want to be a social media influencer, which, gosh, they make millions of dollars, some of these people. Multimedia is where it's at, right? Connecting in social media through motion graphics is where it's at. You don't have to be building a corporate brand or selling a corporate service. You could be building a personal brand. So take the opportunity to explore a little bit. Hopefully, if it is your only session for the month, it gives you a real opportunity to explore the program each week. So I look forward to seeing your assignments. It's been about 40 minutes of lecture time. I wanted to keep it to 40 or 45 minutes because my pre-recorded lecture is an hour and 45 minutes or so. So it's about 2 hour lecture time if you watch the pre-lecture and this current lecture. So let's finish the Premiere book chapter strong. Giving us a brand new perspective with logo animation and After Effects next week. I'm going to upload the After Effects lecture on Monday morning, so you can preview, watch it, so that it gives you time to ingest the program before you tackle the basic chapter assignments. And then I'll follow it up with our evening lecture, just connecting the dots of the things I didn't cover in the pre-recorded lecture. And that'll kind of keep the ball rolling here. Good job so far. I'm going to stop the recording so that gives me an opportunity to post the 45-minute lecture up to the announcement section. And I look forward to seeing your projects. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.